everyone, welcome to Warp News Showdown, the show where the rules are made up and the facts don't matter. I'm Seth the Mad Dok, and I am here to ask the hardest-hitting questions in the 40k community, and my illustrious panels of guests will determine the answers for us, and I will rate their answers because I am the most important man in this community. Now, for some of you that are not familiar with the show, I think a nice way to maybe make a synopsis of the show is one of our returning guests called it competitive shit talking in Warhammer 40k. So let's get right on to our guests. Say hello, everyone, as I take them off mute.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Howdy.
All right. So above me is our returning guest, Ennis Wilson from StatCheck, number 2 in the ITC, but number 1 in our hearts. To my upper left here, we have the bearded, I'll call him Traveler right now, Tyler Bortel of Take All Comers. Also, potentially Secret Team USA spy on Europe. We don't know.
Pick the wrong country to spy on. They're not going.
Well, that's a problem.
Why do you think that is?
Sabotage from the inside. All right. And to my direct left here, a new face to the channel, Tom Lohman from the 6++ podcast. Tom, I don't have a whole lot of personal relationship with you, but I do hear that you're an Eldar player, which makes me hate you personally already.
And that's completely deserved.
All right, perfect. All right, well, for folks that are new to the show, as we go, I will be asking some questions, and then based on our response of our panelists, they might hear a nice little pleasant ding and get a point, and you'll see the number go up on their screen. Or if they upset me, you might hear a nice little negative, and their points go back down. So we're going to start off with Tyler. You're going to be our first... Our first person to get to answer today. Let me get my questions up over here. I know I'm the most professional. All right, Tyler, are you ready? The community has decided in our All Emperor's Children production of Beauty and the Beast that Fulgrim himself will be playing the role of Gaston. That was last week's question, and that was the community's response. With this casting solved, as the casting director for this production, what role would you have Lucius the Eternal play in an All Emperor's Children production of Beauty and the Beast?
Lucius the Eternal in a casting of Beauty and the Beast where Gaston has already been cast. I feel like Lucius has something deeply inviting about him. I think he can play the Candlestick. I don't remember that guy's name. But he does a wonderful job of bringing everyone in and making them feel right at home.
Yeah. All right. I mean, he is eternally on fire. I don't know. Tom, who should Lucius play in the All Emperor's Children casting of Beauty and the Beast?
I've had the Candlestick nicked already. I think in this instance, we're just going to have him as Belle. There's no other way.
He is the prettiest of the
Absolutely.
All right. Ennis, do you even know what Beauty and the Beast is?
Of course I do. I personally think that he should play all of the eggs individually in Gaston's bucket. Just each individual egg should be Lucius the Eternal's like bulbous, bulging head, and then like when Gaston goes to eat them all, the whip comes around, but like Lucius just cannot stop dying. It just keeps getting eaten by Gaston every time.
All right. We got to go. I think Ennis is probably the best one on that one. But all right, well,
you nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Yep. Because of that, Ennis, you're going to be our next guest to answer. I don't know if folks have been paying attention to it, but GW is kind of putting out some community announcements for the new ITC season. And the first one is they've kind of announced some of the new rules for Armies on Parade. And we're all avid hobbyists that try to build and paint to the highest standard here. GW has kind of announced what would be considered a controversial rule, which is for this year's Armies on Parade, you can do conversions, but you are not allowed to mix any of the fantasy and the sci-fi bits. They cannot cross systems. So you could use Horus Heresy and Necromunda on a 40k conversion, but you couldn't use something like Age of Sigmar. Why does GW not want us crossing the streams and setting this dangerous precedence?
That's not me. Yeah, there we go. I think it's actually fair that they should have it be like they do with 40k armies. You should actually have to submit a legal 2,000 point match playlist for your Armies on Parade submission. Like everybody should be like subject to the same restrictions we are. No 3D prints, no conversions. Everything's got to be WTC approved. And I want to see like perfect. Your 2,000 point army needs to be like exactly match play legal. I want legal power fists, legal sergeants, squads of 5. None of this. Like it's an army on parade. It better be 2,000 points. I want to see it perfect.
I mean, I'm in for most of that except for the WTC. Their restrictions are draconian.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely necessary that all of your blood librarians, granite librarians? What's that kit that doesn't really exist that they got everyone mad about? But the problem with the fantasy is that brings in. It's the old heads who've infiltrated GW who really can't stand Age of Sigmar. If you brought your old world stuff in, you'd be totally fine. But they just can't allow any of this new age fake ass fantasy with your underwater elves. Not allowed.
Exactly. We're anti-underwater elves here. Tom?
Yeah, I'm going to build on that. And I think the long game here is actually to reverse explode Age of Sigmar and actually reform the old world originally and do a complete U-turn and have people burning their round-based models
they've
go
released
all the way
Old
back.
World. It's out there.
Yeah, no, I know. But I think they're going to blow up and destroy Age of Sigmar altogether and bring it back and just completely flip reverse it.
All right. We're on Operation Implosion. Tom,
If a game
you're up
releases
next.
and nobody plays it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Old World? Dickie swears that it sells. I haven't seen it.
No idea.
People saying that there are Horus Heresy players out there. I simply
I think they're just repurposing Horus Heresy kits for 40k kits. Just lots of Space Marine conversions. All right, Tom, you're up next. The rumors are that the IT season is going to change, and soon GW is going to make the WCW, the World Championships of Warhammer, the new end-of-season event for the ITC. With World Championships being an invitation-only event through the Golden Ticket system, and now the last event of the IT season, the last chance to get your points, how much harder are we going to see some of these top-table players sweating and grinding to try to get those final Golden Tickets?
I think that we'll see a complete breakaway and top players will form their own Super League and break off and simply play sort of 32-man tournaments between all the people with the best elo over and over for the rest of time.
Just say, screw it, we're doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
Innes?
I think the actual the goal that this will create for us all is that we will all be so desperate to replicate Manny Chima's 2023 ITC achievement of winning without going to the final event so that we can all avoid going to Atlanta because Jesus mother effing F. I am not going back to Atlanta unless you make me.
Well, they might.
Yeah, I think the actual problem is not going to be necessarily getting in your golden ticket. It's going to be getting let into the United States in the future, which may not be something that you want to do in the first place. And once you get here, we're probably not going to let you out. So, fight for your visas more than your golden tickets.
Just not where you want to go. All right. It's neck and neck. Tom, you're a little behind. You might start to swinging for the fences a little bit. Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of, let's get into something a little bit more on the community's mind. Let's talk about some of the Eldar. They're coming out. Everyone's super excited about them. And I thought we had some really top level players here that could give us some deep insight into the Eldar Codex. So Tyler, we're going to start with you. What is the optimal Autarch loadout, since the Autarch on foot is kind of the new hotness to join a bunch of different units? And why is it Tom's patented Chainsword and Reaper Launcher combo?
Yeah, absolutely. You want a chainsword and a Reaper launcher, insofar as it will allow you to lead Howling Banshees and provide a fire support to a unit that otherwise isn't really able to get it done, while still at least cosplaying as one of the aspect warriors that has some kind of a melee prowess. So it'll fit into that pretty well. You definitely want to slam a Banshee mask on it while you're there for old time's sake. It's not actually does anything, but you still got to have it for the aesthetics.
Yeah, you got to blend in with the rest of the squad. All right, let's go with Innes. We're gonna leave Tom for last on this one.
I think Tom is just taking Scari's advice that everybody that wants to counter elves should play more chainswords. It's very important that in this environment of a hammer and a meta of nails that you do be the biggest hammer with the chainsword. Because as we all know, autocannons, chainswords, a Reaper launcher is basically an autocannon. A chainsword, this is the optimal Eldari counter tech. You want to win a mirror match? Copy Scary.
All right. Tom, why is it chainsword and Reaper launcher?
Innes has got it. It's perfect mirror tech. Look at this thing. He's ready to go. He's got loads of attacks. He's ready for Elf on Elf games. 5 rounds every event for the next 3 months. Let's do it. It's the only way to get through this huge mountain of Elf we've got in front of us.
Yeah,
take more chainsaws.
All right. Well, good defense there. Good defense. Really pulling the model out, I think, sold it. The high level of paint I saw there really just kind of brought me
just
brought me
a
right
little
to
bit
the
of yellow
tabletop.
contrast, and that's it.
The nicest model I've ever seen Tom have.
All right. Innes, we're going to go with you next. Eldar are supposed to be kind of the new top skill expression army. Only the best players can get the most out of them. Which top players in the community are we going to see suddenly switch over to Eldar and declare that they were always interested in playing Eldar?
It's going to be wonderful. All of them until Emperor's Children comes out. I think we're going to see approximately a fill in the metagame in about 4 months' time, where everybody who wasn't good enough at Eldar will suddenly become an Emperor's Children player, and we will have Fulgrim on Asserman, hot and sexy action until the end of time.
I don't know, man. I'm anti-Fulgrim.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can tell you on good personal authority that reigning world champion Fulger Piles has already switched over to Elves. So like anyone trying to roll just 4-ups, if that's your level of skill, that's kind of what you're going for. In general, Eldar having 20 free stratagems that you can use while you're battle shock sort of is the bad player's dream army, right? You never get punished, you never made a mistake. So anyone telling you that this is a skill expression army means it's an I can't make mistakes army, which, that's a pretty popular thing these days in the community.
All right. Tom, who's going to be jumping over to these hot elves?
Everyone's going to be coming out of the woodwork. Manny Chima's going to book his first event in 6 months. Quentin Johnson's going to dye his hair the winning color. I think it's blue normally for him when it's Eldar season. You're going to see all sorts. And of course, half my team that don't normally do well will be pushing 4-1s. So that's where we're at.
All right.
That's England, right? That doesn't normally do well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, England trying to submit an 8 Eldar list, I think.
Right.
I think if you submitted one of every 8 Eldar detachments, you'd probably win WTC.
That would be really good.
There are 8 detachments. We have found the new WTC comp, folks. All right. Tom.
You can run Armored Warhorse as well. That exists, right?
No, we don't acknowledge that.
It's probably true.
There's only one Grotmus attachment we acknowledge. Tactical Brigade. All right. Tom, you're the Eldar expert, the longtime Eldar fan here. What happened to Karandras, and what is he doing in the shadows while he's missing from the Eldar Codex?
Karandras, I think, is on paternity leave. I think he's raising a bunch of little scorplets at the moment. And I think also they're just letting Drazar have a moment, right? Drazar never gets a win. He's been rubbish all of 10th edition. They're like, you're the only Scorpion left, man. Enjoy it.
Drazar has some PTSD for me, so that didn't go so well.
Oh, no. I marked down.
I think it's very important that Karandras is infiltrating deep into the future for when Eldar need buffs. For when all of these terrible Eldar players are coming out of the woodwork, they're going 4-1. Why are they not winning every tournament? How could they be doing it? We'll drop Karandras. It's going to be the Grotmus April Fool's Edition. We're going to get the brand new Eldar detachment. Karandras, he's on an Avatar's base. He's got half damage, -2 to wounded. He casts Fortune by himself, and that's how we fix Eldar in the future.
Oh, great. -1 to wounds back.
I mean, I think he's absolutely infiltrating, but he's directly under our nose. I mean, we see a Phoenix Explorer disappear and suddenly there's just like another one or something. I think Karandras got real tired of wearing green and decided it was time to actually go fast. So his little cross-dressing experiment here as Lick My Balls or whatever his name is going to work out real well for him. And she's selling like hotcakes. So I can't blame him for going through that.
I mean, turns out teleporting and then giving your army crit 5s after whatever you hit, it could be useful if your army has some form of mechanic for lethal or sustained. Is that a thing in the Eldar book anywhere?
Definitely.
So.
Okay, yeah. Nothing to worry about. It's fine. Tyler, since you seem to have the insight on what's going on with some of these Phoenix Lords, what sort of warp dust did Osterman snort to turn his little shuriken catapult into a verified D weapon against infantry? And how can the rest of us in 40k get our hands on some of that level of power?
I'm going to be real straightforward about this because it's pretty obvious to me what happened in the course of like 2 or 3 months, or however long it was. The best shuriken cannon in the game was taken away from Kyrodraxis and was somehow given back to Azerman. I don't know how he managed to get it out of the Imperial vaults, but he has taken back the weapon of choice, which means when Draxis takes it back in the new Imperial edition in February, it's going to be wildly better and it's going to be indirect again. I want it back, Draxis. I miss you. Come back.
Minus points for saying the word indirect.
I think it's purely self-confidence. It's belief coursing through his veins. You look at the man, he's got his own face on a flag behind his head. That is a guy that absolutely fully believes himself, full of self-belief, and it's just cruising through, smashing people.
I mean, I'm an orc player. I'm all about belief.
Yeah.
I'm on desperate point gaining measures. Karandras disappeared, and do you know what's happened? Osterman has stepped up. He has subscribed to the Wargames Live Patreon. He's been watching the backstage passes. He's been watching the additional games. He's learned how to fire his guns better. He is on patreon.com/wargameslive, learning from the best, and that is why his gun is better.
And now the rest of you have learned that pandering does get you points on this show. All right. We have one question left, and because Innes is in the lead, we're going to have him go first so you guys can get an idea of exactly how much you have to, say. This one might be a little controversial, though, so kind of buckle up. Art of War is taking a competitive advantage in the content war that is occurring in 40k. And this is because, as a GW previewer with the Guard Codex, they were able to get their hands on the Guard FAQ and points that the rest of us didn't have. So, as content producers, as you're racing ahead in the content war, what do you think you can do as a Codex previewer to get the advantage over Art of War and then jump back into the lead? Let's go with Innes.
My simple assumption has been that all of Art of War don't play events anymore. They just play team events. So if I just go to singles events, like a good Wargames Live viewer, then I will be able to get all of the Codex advantage I want, because like 2 of them showed up for LVO, only 1 of them made top 4. Like they're barely even trying anymore. They used to show up and put 2 people in the finals. They're letting the side down. Content advantage, and we're like keeping them at baseline.
Oof, that's a lot of points for Innes. Tyler?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, Art of War is kind of the kind of Codex has been right now. They've completely ceded all ground to Team Ignite. We're sort of allowing the Tories to come back in and take over this country and unrevolutionizing. And I think it's time that we stage some kind of a coup. We need someone else to be in charge of the American meta if we're actually going to take on the Brits. And I think the people who do it, they wear black and white. So we'll see what we can do about that.
All right. A valiant effort, but not quite. Tom, can you snag the lead from Innes?
It's going to take a lot of Wargames Live praising, but obviously Wargames Live is absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible. And I think ultimately the best way to beat Art War at this stage is simply to tune into Wargames Live as much as you possibly can and take all the real tactical tips from players who are actually out at events. It's the only option you possibly have. I mean, it's worth saying, Art War have ceded ground to Ignite. Ignite didn't even finish top in the UK. Mind Goblins finished top in the UK. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. So I think the best bet, and certainly my team's approach, is we're starting with the next generation. We're going to wait Art of War out. They will get old and die. And so we're going to breed the next generation. And I think our children are going to line up to take over the position in about 2 generations' time.
That is the most English response I have ever heard, which is we will make a dynasty that lasts multiple generations. We will have a monarchy, if you will, of 40K players. So with that level of foresight, Tom has snuck in and swept the victory from Innes. Once again, England conquering Scotland. I'm sure
I told you to put him on the show. This counts as mine.
Fair enough. All right.
I'll hand down my trophy to Innes. It's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. That's been happening a lot recently.
All right. Well, Tom, as the winner, it is your right, nay, your privilege to monologue to the Wargames Live audience here for as long as you want, about whatever you want. But do be mindful that your guests' microphones are still on and they can hear what the audience is thinking. So be careful what you say.
Thank you, wonderful people, for tuning in to this. Continue to watch all of this content. It's fantastic. Seth's fantastic man. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm so posh. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Well, thank you for coming on, guys. I really enjoyed having you. It's nice when I can get the schedule to line up to get some of the European opinions on here, because y'all always make it a good time. So you're always welcome back whenever you want, or at least whenever my work schedule can accommodate me recording with y'all. Thank you so much for watching, folks. I really hope you enjoyed it. Go check out all these guys. Well, of course, Innes and Tyler are basically the same network. It's all stat check all the time over there. But Tom over at 6++, he's the true winner. So I think you should definitely send your views that way if you can. Of course, if you're enjoying the show, subscribe to Wargames Live. Help support Joe via Patreon or membership here on the YouTube. If you care about me at all, come over to my channel and just give me a like and a sub. That's all I need. But until next time, this is Seth the Mad Dok saying have a good one and take it easy.